Multiple points raised, Paresh. First and foremost, on when to list, depending upon the market conditions, depending upon the current state of the enterprise. You know, we need a certain excuse me, we need a certain size and scale and a path to profitability which is clearly visible to the investors to get them to invest and get a good valuation. The purpose of listing needs to be clearly understood before you actually it's not a hobby horse that yes, I need to list. So there'll be many dimensions, many factors governing the decision about listing the organization. Market conditions, size of business, profitability, and ultimately the overall valuation that the shareholder or the promoter group is expecting and what the market is going to give. Paresh, you then mentioned about other ways of funding. There are, CP had mentioned about credit card financing. There are other options like lease rent discounting. It's a very common structure which is done, especially for larger property transactions where banks would be willing to do a lease rent discounting proposition, and it could be a win-win. It could be a win-win in the sense a landlord, when he is giving a property, he might not get the best possible interest rates from the banks as compared to when there is a established retailer sitting on the other side, where the bank is assured of the cash flows or the credibility of the retailer. Lease rent discounting comes in very handy. The other things which quite a few retailers have explored is lease financing for assets. Now, as we already discussed, that the retail business is asset light, and the number of assets that we have to deal with across the n number of stores and locations, it's a nightmare personally for me, and I'm sure my colleagues would share that view. Where is how the asset is being used? Tomorrow, if the asset gets needs repair, revamp, retrofit, it needs to be moved from one location to the other, so on and so forth. So managing that asset block on our balance sheet, and instead of that, if I can lease finance it, so the asset is off my books, and the growth capital that is required to fund the asset is also available. That is one more option. Then, touching upon working capital finances, just going back to what CP mentioned about credit card receivables, how do we, it's not just about looking at the aspects from where we can raise money. Why can't we look internally and improve our working capital cycles, improve our inventory turns, stretch a bit, get better credit terms from our suppliers, inch towards, I'm sure some retailers might already be there in the negative working capital zone. So if you are able to reach the negative working capital zone where creditors are financing the inventories, then working capital financing is not an issue. One good part, the biggest piece with which the CFO of a retail company sleeps